Well, warm greetings to everybody. We're back, sort of. I'd like to say I'm so happy to see you. I really feel that in my heart. There's nothing more than I would like but to see you. Instead, you are seeing me. I'm sorry about that. I mean, I'll just do the best I can. Yeah. Now, let me ask you, wasn't that a razzle-dazzle intro to our worship service? I mean, the whole worship team played a role in it. I supervised. Somebody had to. But behind the scenes, we have a new tech director, Tristan Moore, whom I would like to welcome to our creative team, and I want to thank him for all the work he has done. I mean, getting all those voices together to sound like some semblance of normalcy had to be just a crazy love of technology, I guess. It just turned out to be wonderful. We have been served well heretofore. In fact, well, to be honest, we've been spoiled by Lee Schuster and Don Walton. Lee has retired from volunteer work from this church after 25 years. Are you allowed to retire from this church? Are you allowed to retire from a volunteer position in this church? Could somebody take a look at the bylaws? I don't know if you really can retire as a volunteer. I thought you were a volunteer up until your own memorial service, but I could be wrong. We'll just check that out. Now, Don has moved on to become chairman of the Board of Trustees. Well, I don't know, but that can't be as much fun as sitting behind the camera. Oh, well. Anyway, we are grateful to all of you, and special kudos to Lee and Don for handling the technology for the summer forum. Tim and Kathy Chambliss have once again assembled another stupendous powerhouse of speakers from diverse corners of life. We are, as a congregation, so grateful to you all. My goodness, worship services are back. Well, that must mean it's time for announcements. Well, right now, it's a good time to register for small group ministry. Check the Torch, our newsletter, or the website for details. And for those of you who are new to our church, even first-time viewers, small groups may be the best thing that's happened to us. We all have about 13 groups this year, comprised of about 10 people in each group. Monica Dobbins, our assistant minister, has introduced an exciting new program for all these groups, so sign up and be a part of what's happening. Absolutely, there's tremendous vitality in these groups. You will be well served. In our religious education department, Amanda and Lissa have put together a stupendous and very helpful welcome back kit. And this is designed for brand new families and families who've actually been around for some time here as well. So for more information, please check out our website or our Facebook page. Find out the information that they will need from you, and then they can send you this wonderful welcome back kit. And finally, contrary to the wisdom of Ralph Waldo Emerson, who in his very brief Unitarian ministry said that donations should be asked during church services before the sermon. Maybe he has a point there. But I guess we here love to flirt with risk and danger. So please take the donation part very seriously. We need your help in these difficult times, and we'll be asking for your donations after the service is done. So welcome back, everyone. Now, many of you have a chalice at home, which I will ask you to light in just a moment as we light the chalice here, a more traditional chalice in the chapel. Before we do that, I do want to announce that our goal for this year is that we get as many perspectives of people lighting their chalices as possible. And so you and your family, and it doesn't matter, large, small, single, what we like to do is get a video of different families from around the congregation lighting their chalice. This way we get a chance to see you, we get a chance to hear different kinds of voices as we say the very meaningful words that we use when we light the chalice. So please send Amanda Esko an email if you're interested, and I hope so, in being videoed for our chalice lighting ceremony, and I hope to see as many different families as possible lighting the chalice throughout the year. So may we get ready now to light our respective chalices at home, and may our flames meet and merge in that wondrous cause for progressive ideals in making the world more fair. Symbol of light and of knowledge, symbol of warmth and freedom. We light this chalice as a symbol of our faith. Here we gather, and we gather outside the confines of the walls of this church. Here we gather as one church community in order to celebrate hope and the infinite possibilities of love.
This summer was like no other summer. It's been as if we're in this weird pocket of the time-space continuum where both the days are longer and shorter. It feels as if we've been home forever, but it's also suddenly the last few weeks of August. I've spent a lot of time this summer thinking about how others are feeling right now, and I finally landed on a good analogy. Who knows what this is? It's a lump of coal. Coal is a rock-like substance that's formed over millions of years from dead plants decaying or going back to the earth. And it's converted into coal by heat and pressure of being buried under our planet for all that time. It's made of mostly carbon. Coal has been used for a long time as a heat source. However, it is not good for our planet. When it's burned, it releases a lot of pollution. It causes health problems for the people that mine it or breathe it in. It's also not even energy efficient. Now, something else that is also mostly made of carbon and created deep down in our planet is this, the diamond on my ring. Diamonds are created even further down underground, closer to our planet's mantle. They are believed to be created, like coal, from decaying matter, heated and put under pressure. But instead of becoming coal, a diamond is created. The diamonds are pushed up from the deep recesses by underground volcanic pressure that pushes them closer and closer to the surface. They still need to be mined and dug out, but the exact same pressure creates two massively different things. Now, what does this have to do with this particular summer? I don't know about you, but in my home this summer, while it was fast and slow all at the same time, we felt a lot of pressure. Pressure from work, pressure from the community, pressure from wanting to have things be normal, but no, they're not. Pressure from being in the same home with everyone for so long. It's been a lot. When I've talked with people, we're all saying the exact same things. This season, this summer, was a lot. It's overwhelming. The choices we're making are filled with pressure and expectations. While we're feeling this very real pressure, though, we still have agency in our choices. If you know me, you've heard me say or reassure someone else that they were making the very best choices with the information or situation they were in. How we choose to respond in this moment will choose what we become. Faced with voter suppression, are we organizing in our community on social media or volunteering with You the Vote? Are we talking to our school boards about our opinions on the reopening plans? And are we always supporting our teachers? Are we putting our best effort into digital learning, even though it might not be our favorite? Are we doing what we need to do to take care of ourselves? Are we resting and taking care of our spirits? How we choose to respond in this moment will choose what we become. I hope the pressure of this moment reveals all the diamonds we have within ourselves. May it be so.
It's the first Sunday of the church year. It's quiet in here today, but I can feel you here with me. I imagine each one of you sitting in your usual place here in our chapel or in Elliott Hall, smiling and laughing, singing and praying, greeting one another, planning your meetings and rehearsals and social justice actions. I can smell the coffee brewing, and I can hear children rushing off to find their new classrooms. I imagine us living the life of a community in covenant. For just about a century, this chapel has welcomed thousands of worshipers and seekers who laid their burden down for one quiet hour and enjoyed the freedom of liberal religion. I imagine them with us too, dreaming about us and what we'd be able to achieve through the vision they held for our future. I'm not too sad this morning, though my very fondest wish is to be with you all in person once more. I'm proud of our church today. I'm proud that we are caring for our community by staying home and staying safe. I'm proud of all the work that we are doing to keep our church going and draw the circle of our covenant wider and wider. I hope you feel proud about that too. As we begin the church year together this weekend, I want to inspire you to cultivate a spirit of invitation this year. Each of us must be the bearers of an invitation to our fellow church members and to the community at large. Tell the people that you know that something good is going on at First Unitarian Church, and ask them personally to join you. Our doors may be closed, but our church is open. Our hearts are open. Our vision is wide open. I invite you now to join me as we pray for our church community and for a successful year. Guiding Spirit that lights our way even when the way is not clear. Be a bright star that illuminates our entire community this year. Shine on every face, every family, every ministry, and bind us close together. Bring forth from the shadows of our minds every face we've missed this summer, and put it on our hearts to reach out to one another as we go forward together. Bless the work of our hands as we continue to fulfill our mission, whether virtually or otherwise. Remind us that even virtual work for justice is real, it is valuable, and it is holy. Care for us as we care for one another, and bring us together again in safety and in love when the time is right. Amen.
When worship services resume at First Church at this time of year, it signals that summer is drawing to a close. But I'm not exactly sure we actually had a summer. Well, the thermostat seemed to indicate that the season arrived, but so many of us privileged people measure the summer by the places we go. I drove about 47 miles this entire summer, so the summer that has been feels like the summer that never came. Well, there are some exceptions, of course, which complicate things. You know, my biggest pet peeve when I'm on the road is the RV. They're too slow, consume too much energy, and eclipse the scenic view ahead. Well, frankly, I feel smug in that I know exactly the kinds of people they are who are driving those awful vehicles. And of course, I also know their political affiliations. I got their types down. But in this bizarre summer that never really was, dear friends of mine who are normally environmental activists and democratic socialists are buying or renting these monstrosities as though they're going out of style. You know, they hit the road in an effort to somehow rescue this summer from oblivion. They believe they are quarantined, kind of, sort of, as this is shaping up to be a whole new genre of summer fun for progressives. They will change the political conversation in RV parks all over the country. Well, that's pretty good. But meanwhile, I can no longer display my displeasure as I pass an RV for fear that, well, I might be recognized by some friend who is driving it. I'd like to think this was a forgettable summer, but in many ways it wasn't. I want to share with you my favorite headlines in the newspaper. In fact, it appeared in the New York Times, maybe a month and a half ago. Absolutely true. Here is the headline: bars, strip clubs, and churches. Got that right? Bars, strip clubs, and churches, U.S. virus outbreaks enter unwieldy phase. Well, I guess we need to draw the conclusion that we are as unwieldy as bars and strip clubs. But Unitarians may be the only religious people who would not take offense at that. We think, well, perhaps that might make a good piece of discussion, maybe in a small group ministry or at coffee hour. Let's talk about this. Well, the article itself just explored how weird life had become, and that this chapter in American history will live on in infamy. Take the face masks, for example. It's been difficult to comprehend that the richest nation in the world has refused to spend pennies to buy masks to control the spread of the coronavirus. That simple acquisition could have saved tens of thousands of lives. Instead, masks became another wedge issue in our polarized society, where respecting the life of another by restricting the flow of COVID droplets is perceived somehow as socialism. Now, we may have lost 170,000 individuals thus far, but Karl Marx is unwelcome here. A sip of water would be very welcome. So in this weird summer that never was, we learned how taking the census is yet another wedge issue. Somehow, getting a reliable count of the population is considered by some as un-American. Republican office holders contend, quite overtly, that all the uncounted people in the country are Democrats. So, why count them? I mean, this has nothing to do with democracy. They just don't like change. Why rock the boat, especially if you're the captain? Well, this brings to mind another wedge issue, namely the United States Postal Service. The president wants to eliminate the post office. Wow. And so when I think about it, I can see a point here because, well, frankly, it's been a long time since I received an actual letter in the mail. And I guess that must be true for Donald Trump as well. But still, thousands of mailboxes are being removed. Where do they all go? Is there a place where they pile up mailboxes alongside forsaken telephone booths from long ago? I don't know. I just can't imagine where they disappear to. Now, hasn't Donald Trump ever watched Mr. Rogers? I mean, remember how he always welcomed Mr. McFeely, the mail carrier? Why, Mr. McFeely personified all postal carriers who would fight rain and snow and sleet and Chinese and Russian interference to protect the legitimacy of the U.S. mail. Now, my guess is that Mr. McFeely is unknown to our president, which kind of explains a lot, doesn't it? Now, many unusual lessons have been woven into this weird summer. It feels like, we have all been to summer school. We've learned some good things about what's really essential in life and what is less so. Friendships have taken on deeper meaning in this pandemic. We also seem to look out for each other just a little bit more. Well, that's a plus. We've learned that sending our kids to school does more for the mental health of the parents than probably anything else. So it's about time that teachers get the pay grade they really deserve. We've learned a lot this summer. Like, there isn't anything you can't order online. I mean, like you can order up a little box of toothpicks and it'll be at your doorstep within 24 hours. Now, many of us have also learned that we can go longer without haircuts than we thought, and that a pandemic is not a bad time to let your hair grow gray. We've learned to sharpen our culinary skills, not much else to do, and take delight from a simple hike. We've also learned, I think, that attending church is probably more important than we thought. A monumental, huge lesson learned this summer came to the Florida Congressman Ted Yoho. His teacher was Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. He labeled her with many expletives that must be deleted from a sermon, but you know what he said. And what did she do? She took him to the woodshed publicly. Ooh, not pretty. But the lesson is not limited to respecting AOC or she'll demolish you, but the lesson is that one should never try to take on anyone from the Bronx. The Bronx is different, let me tell you. Even I, who pretended to be a tough kid from Queens, would just gotta step aside, make way for anybody from the Bronx. You don't diss anyone from the Bronx if you know what's good for you. A great lesson for all of us. But the really big lessons this summer were clearly packaged in the world of sports. Athletes from really every professional stripe help give shape and meaning to the radical transformation that's going on right now in this country. You know, my heart soared on the morning that the Utah Jazz began their season. A picture in the Tribune showed the whole team kneeling in support of Black Lives Matter and their expressed outrage against police brutality. Wow. I mean, 4 years ago, Colin Kaepernick, the San Francisco 49ers, kneeled alone during the national anthem. One humble, simple act challenging America as failing to respect the dignity of people of color. And as a result, he suffered humiliating scorn. It was terrible. But it didn't actually take 4 years to evolve, 4 years to bring us up to this point. It was just over this summer that athletes found their voices of protest against systemic racism. Hockey players, even going up to Toronto, along with the NBA, joined forces in wearing Black Lives Matter t-shirts. And the professional women's basketball team wears outfits with "Say Her Name" on it. Say her name. This is, of course, in reference to the murder of Breonna Taylor, where none of the police have even been charged thus far in her death as she lay asleep in bed. And professional sports teams, down to high school teams, were forced to change their team names and mascots, which dripped with slurs against the indigenous tribes of our nation. And NASCAR removed the Confederate flag from their events. Whoa, what a summer! Americans are emotionally attached to sports. But for the first time, athletes refuse now to act as apolitical pawns in this game of sports big business. These heroes on the playing field have become heroes on the field of life, moving America closer to abiding by its fundamental principles. Now, these athletes are not talking just formal rights, but gaining equal dignity in this society that displays overtly white supremacy and quiet bystanders. Well, at least athletes are being quiet no longer. And you know, it's kind of becoming infectious. This summer has renewed my faith. I mean, from athletes expressing the urgent need to transform our country, to protesters in all of our cities challenging the status quo of police brutality, to the outpouring of love and support and respect shown to John Lewis upon his death, to the increasing number of political conservatives who will finally place country above party this November, to the organizers of Black Lives Matter, to the writers whose books on anti-racism are now standard fare in virtually every book discussion group across the whole country. My faith is renewed by an ever sharper and keener focus on we. We've lost track on that concept of we. What we owe each other as citizens of this country. We, developing a vision of our common destiny, and quite frankly, we've been living a morally undemanding life. You know, perhaps that's what is really meant by white privilege. It doesn't matter if we get involved or not. But as Ibram X. Kendi states so convincingly in his book, How to Be an Anti-Racist, there is no such thing as neutrality. There's no such thing as being along the edges as a bystander. We can no longer rest comfortably thinking, hey, I'm not a racist. I'm okay. I don't need to get involved. I know I'm not a racist. Well, you are. And everyone else is a racist until they step it up and become anti-racists and tear down the myriad manifestations of white supremacy so fundamentally entrenched in the power structures of our nation. We're going to be a busy congregation this year. I mean, this is the moment we've been waiting for. This is a great time to earn our reputation as a progressive congregation that has a lot of influence and power in this Salt Lake Valley. We learned a lot this summer, and now we're back, and we're going to put all these lessons to good use. Welcome back. As we extinguish the chalice, may we consider, for all the grace in the world, for all the tumult of the world, and for all that awaits the work of our hearts and hands, may we be grateful. Amen.